Welcome everyone! I asked you all last week if you were willing to help me make a Q&A video, and thank you all so much again for participating so much. It really means a lot to me to see how much you care. And as I said, I really just need to practice talking more, so I hope it won't be too boring because I'm really not that well practiced in entertaining with my voice. But yeah, I would say let's get started. Happy birthday! How are you? Thank you very much, I'm fine, I think. Do you have a favorite color? What's your favorite color? My favorite color is pink. What's your favorite season? Spring. Where are you from and how do you think the place has impacted your style? I'm from Germany and I'm not sure how. I mean, all the people that have taught me what I know live here, and my family in general is very artsy, but like my style is more inspired by manga, so I'm not really sure.
Hallo, alles Gute zum Geburtstag. Ich weiß nur ein klein bisschen Deutsch mit Duolingo und YouTube, aber ich habe ein Patterson und Findus Buch. Kennst du es? Und was ist deine Meinung darüber? Hallo aus Chile und noch einmal alles Gute zum Geburtstag.
PD, I've tried to learn German for 3 years and this is all I can do. Also erstmal danke, ich finde das voll krass, dass du das wirklich auf Deutsch geschrieben hast. Ich habe jetzt mal ein paar deiner kleinen Fehler korrigiert, aber die sind richtig Standard. Also ich glaube, die machen die meisten Deutschlerner, die sind nicht sehr signifikant. Also der Deutsch ist richtig gut. Und ich weiß jetzt nicht, welches Patterson und Findus Buch du hast, aber ich kenne natürlich Patterson und Findus. Also ich finde es ganz süß. Ich selber kenne jetzt Patterson und Findus. Und natürlich weiß ich, dass es Bücher gibt, aber ich kenne die mehr so aus den DVDs und ich hatte halt irgendwie, ich hab's ehrlich gesagt vergessen, ich hatte eine DVD, wo irgendwie die beiden sich irgendwie gestritten haben und Findus ist dann irgendwie ausgebüxt, aber sehr viel weiß ich über die beiden nicht wirklich. Aber ja, voll die coole Frage, dankeschön.
Do you like spiders? I can deal with them, but I wouldn't say I like them. What's the origin of the name of your channel? So Ammi is a nickname I gave myself. Throughout my whole school life, there was always a girl that had the same name as me in my class. And she was more outgoing and had many friends while I was very introverted and shy. And so I always was like the second Ammi, so to say. And one day, a girl who was friends with both of us approached me while saying, "Hi Ammi," and then she realized that I'm not the Ammi that actually responds to that name and corrected herself. But because I was very insecure, I kind of read it as, oh, she corrected herself because I'm not the Ammi she's actually friends with, which very likely just wasn't true. I mean, you would correct yourself if you're not sure that person even wants to be called that because you never established that. And when it came to making my channel, or rather just my account, I thought, you know what, I always wanted to have a nickname, and then I kind of claimed the name Ammi for myself. That's kind of the short version of it. So my name, I guess, is Ammi-nformation, because Ammi, like I explained, and in combination with the word amateur. And I really like that because firstly it's a nice wordplay, and secondly I'm not a professional, and amateur means you do something with your heart, and I really resonated with that. And of course the 9 is because I love the number 9. And lastly, Janus, this is how you pronounce my name, is a moon, a Roman god, and the Latin word for gate, I think. So it's the moon of the planet Saturn, and I really saw myself on that because I really like to watch the night sky. Then the god Janus fits me in multiple ways. Firstly, because it's the god of 2 faces, and while I don't really believe in like zodiac signs and stuff, mine is Gemini, or in my language it would be twins, and Janus is the god with 2 faces. One looks in the past and one looks in the future, which I also really see myself in because I tend to overthink about the past and the future. And then I think the gate meaning of Janus also kind of is symbolic for that, because the one side of the gate is the past, and when you step through it, you're in the future.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
9.
Why do you love the number 9 so much?
So I discovered that I love the number 9 the most in 2nd grade when we learned to multiply. Because if you look at the 9 multiplication row, you have 0, 9, 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5, and then it swaps. Then it continues with 5, 4, 6, 3, 7, 2, 8, 1, and 9, 0. And not only is that very cool, but you have something I call a Quersumme, which is if you have a multiple digit number, you can add the numbers it is made out of and you get a new number. And if you add every Quersumme in the 9 multiplication row, you'll eventually get 9 again. Also, you can tell if a number is divisible by 3 if the Quersumme is divisible by 3. And 9 is not only divisible by 3, but 3 times 3 is 9 again. Then there was like this mathematical fact that I forgot. And lastly, you know how the meaning of life is 42? Well, it's only half the puzzle because what's the Quersumme of 42? That's right, 6. And if you turn the 6 around, you have the 9 again. So the meaning of life is actually number 9, but turned upside down and jumbled up.
Why are you so adorable? You see, I'm so cute because I draw myself that way. Can you tell us a random fun fact? Just about something that really interests you, but you rarely get to talk about it.
You know that saying, flying too close to the sun, that comes from the tale of Icarus? The tale isn't actually about Icarus. I don't really know how to pronounce the names, but the one who was punished for his hubris wasn't Icarus, it was his father Daedalus. Icarus was like a little kid, maybe like around 10 or something. Basically, the story doesn't want to hold him accountable for anything because he's just too young to realize anything. When his father initially builds the wings to fly from this island, Icarus kind of just goofs around like every kid does. He's kind of impatient with everything and stuff. And when they actually start to fly, Daedalus is very, very nervous and doesn't want Icarus to fly too close to the sun because, like, Icarus is his most precious thing he has in this world, and because Daedalus previously made the gods very angry and now he built wings, something that only a god is allowed to have. They decided to punish him by I guess making, even though the gods aren't directly involved in the story, but Icarus flies too close to the sun and then he dies, which is the punishment for Daedalus, who then stops with all of his bad behavior. And that's what the story actually about.
What's your favorite food?
What?
Ammi's favorite food?
It's that oatmeal with the dinosaur eggs, idiot.
That was my Flowey, I hope you liked it. No, it's not actually my Flowey, I just haven't voiced him in so long. Anyway, seriously now, my favorite food, according to Chicory, A Colorful Tale, is lollipops, but I usually just say potatoes.
Okay, let's ask the real hard-hitting questions. What's your favorite type of candy?
My favorite type of candy is lollipops, but I also really like ice cream.
And what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't know if we can ask more than one question, but I did just in case.
You could ask more than one question.
I would say my favorite ice cream flavor is yogurt, but I also really like strawberry and apple.
What's your favorite type of apple?
If you don't like apple, favorite fruit? I don't know the name of the apple, but I really like, I guess, flowery ones. This is how you would say it in my language. And my favorite type of fruit is strawberry.
Gender.
I am a cat, just chilling out, but in the night you're all I think about. I feel so strong when she's around. She picks me up when I am down.
I'm a girl.
Why is your character like that? Is it based off of you or is it an OC?
My character is based off of me and partially off of my favorite character Serena from Pokemon XY. Like the basic cut is kind of inspired by her, but like my bangs are inspired by me because I don't know when I cut my hair, when I started to cut my hair. I also cut myself bangs, and then I realized that they kind of form a little cute curl when I brushed them to the side, and then I incorporated that into the design. Who's your favorite YouTuber right now? I don't really know who's my favorite YouTuber right now. I watch The Click a lot, but for the longest time my favorite YouTuber was Pokemon Ranger Boy 12.
What's your biggest inspiration for your art style? And what was your favorite show and or video game growing up? Basically, both of these questions can be answered with Pokemon. Overall, I think the Pokemon art style, or rather the Ken Sugimori art style, is just super beautiful. It feels like these characters can really do anything. They look so alive, but they're still very manga-like, and I love that. And of course, my favorite show growing up, or rather the most influential show growing up for me, was Pokemon X and Y. And I think how this show really influenced my art style as well was because these characters could be so disproportionate and expressive if they wanted to, but it also was very beautiful and cute, which is also what I aim to do. How long ago did you start drawing, and is there any reason why you started doing so? So I've basically drawn my whole life, but I really took interest in drawing around like 2013, because this is when Pokemon X came out, and that also kind of sparked my interest in drawing. Because again, I thought these characters looked all so cute and pretty, and I wanted to do that as well. Now I'm kinda curious, what got you into animating and drawing? Hello, what inspired you to start animating? Well, the drawing question we already know, but animating specifically, like, firstly I was a huge Disney fan growing up, but one vacation in the summer I watched some videos by the YouTuber Shipflake, and his animations all were so inviting in the sense that they seemed like, hey, I think I can try that as well. And I had my new Nintendo 3DS, which nowadays sadly is dysfunctional, and this was kind of the first device where you could photograph a picture and then photograph the next picture, and then you had a little animation. So I tried it with that. This was kind of my first entry into animation. Why did you decide to start this channel? So I watched a lot of Undertale comic dubs, and Rudy's comics were also a lot of Retrocity comics, and they always were kind of my favorite. And then one day I discovered his channel, and not only did I discover that he does the Saying a Lot of Things series, but also that there are fan animations. And when Saying a Lot of Things as Undertale characters was very new, I then listened to it and thought, hey, you know what, I know how every of these scenes have to look, and then I really wanted to animate them, which I did. Happy birthday, by the way. Thank you. You need background music by any chance? I know a guy who would be willing to let you use some of his. The guy's me. Also, did you make the sprites in this yourself? Cause they're like really good. Thank you very much, I did make them myself. Maybe some of you remember, but when I got new into community posts because I just unlocked them, I made like a bunch of Chris sprites, and as a joke I made the 12th one myself, and then I eventually made some variations to that. And one day I might need background music, but not right now, but thank you very much. Whatever happened to that one project where you were going to animate people's favorite parts of Deltarune Chapter 2? Was that silently cancelled? Good question. I'm going to explain this quickly. Like, when I reached like 300 subscribers or so, I thought, wow, that's a lot of people, I really want to do something for you. And then it was decided that I would animate a bunch of Deltarune Chapter 2 moments, and I mentioned this when I asked you for questions, but I want to make a different video going deeper into that, but the short answer would be yes, I temporarily cancelled it, but actually just the week before last week, so it is a fairly new decision. I just need to do a lot of reevaluating and restructuring what I actually want to do, and especially right now I just don't have time to do anything. I'm sorry. Do you have any advice for beginner animators? I'm not really sure. Much of my animation journey was just learning by doing. One advice many animators will give you is just to take references and try to observe how everything actually works in terms of how they move. And for me specifically, an advice I would give is timing is very important. Like, when I animate something with audio, it is easier to time everything, but without audio, like maybe you saw my Kiseki Sky Jump video, it is just way too fast, and even the Berdly I only play mobile games little animation I did. It is very easy to just get lost in your own head and you think, oh wait, yeah, I know what happens next, so this is kind of too slow, but it isn't too slow. The people who haven't seen it won't know what will come next. So it just will turn out to be way too fast for them.
Why haven't you won any prize for drawing that incredibly? Seriously, all the academics are really missing out on someone so talented.
I actually didn't win a prize, thank you though. Like in school we had to enter this kind of Europe competition with topic of our choosing, and me and my partner did comic, and that won the prize of that specific topic in our specific age group in that specific region. But we still won.
Like in sort of memes I find online, do you also want to eat other people's art online? Because I noticed it's a reoccurring theme for many artists.
I've actually never heard of this before. But I would like to eat the food in Ratatouille, which also counts as art, so I guess yeah.
Which character do you like to draw the most, and why?
Well, you just set yourself up for a trap, because the character I like to draw the most is my OC. But I think that's the case for many artists. I don't really have a specific reason, I just think it's because we share the same clothing style and I also really like to come up with new outfits. And I guess you just have a bigger attachment to your own characters. Well, luckily I can say that I actually have more than one art pieces I am proud of. Like, I mean, to some extent I'm really proud of everything I did on this channel. Then I'm going to show some of the art pieces I drew recently here, but one of the pieces I'm most proud of in terms of just pictures would be this picture where I drew all of my characters dozing in a bed together. I tried a new lighting technique with this one, and I also really like how I managed to kind of show a familial bond with them. And lastly, I think the art piece I would be most proud of, even though it isn't finished at all, is my own story Lichterbanden.
Advanced happy birthday! So, do you have any ambitions to publish an indie film like The Amazing Digital Circus or Ungesellig?
Thank you very much, I see what you did there. Maybe some of you know, but my dream is to get my story Lichterbanden into a visual storytelling form. My plan right now is, because the project is a little bit too big to animate everything by myself, I'm going to make it a sort of picture book and comic style series with the very important parts being animated, a little bit like they do in Professor Layton. And for now it is just my goal to get kind of the prologue finished.
Are you planning to post something related to your character someday? A video, community post or anything? Have a nice day!
Have a nice day as well, and this question made me so happy.
I mean, I'd love to do that. It depends a little on if you would actually be interested in that.
Not only am I a little bit very paranoid when it comes to showing my personal stuff, but I mean, showing what I did is something different than just talking about it. But overall, I would really like to do that.
First of all, feliz cumpleaños! As for a question, what is your favorite genre of music? Any songs you recommend?
Gracias. I don't really have a favorite genre. I usually like music that can be very energetic or also bittersweet songs. But in my Pokemon X GTS profile, I just said I like to listen to anime music. So I guess J-pop would be very fitting. So because it ended recently and I'm like positively, I guess, surprised by it, I would recommend the Hirogato Sky Pretty Cure original songs. But in general, my favorite kind of anime songs are of course Pokemon songs. Not only because they also really fit this criteria of my music taste, but they also always have this message of never giving up or carrying through everything, which can be very inspirational, and I really like that. So my favorite Pokemon opening is Volt by Yuzuke from Pokemon X and Y, and my favorite ending is Doridori by Shoko Nakagawa from Pokemon X and Y. But the newest ending, Let Me Battle by 9 Lana, also really slaps. So I would recommend that.
What's your favorite genre of video games?
I'm not really sure, I more so know what I don't like, but in general I would say RPGs, since I really like exploring a whole new world and meeting all these different characters and experiencing the story. But I also really just like more cozy games like Tomodachi Life or Animal Crossing. And then there's this funny thing that I almost can't play horror games except for Mori, because I get scared super easily, but I'm often really fascinated by the lore and the story behind it and the symbolism, so I often just find myself watching videos about horror games.
Hardest game you've played? So I would say Cuphead, but little fun fact, I can't finish Zelda games, even though there are Zelda games that look very interesting and the story also seems very interesting and the world itself is very magical. But for example, I tried out Breath of the Wild and I just couldn't finish it because I forgot half of the controls and I don't know how to battle.
What is the game you have played most recently?
So, I play a bit of Tomodachi Life every day just to see if anything meaningful happened with my Mies and their relationship, but in the end it just reset every time I started because nothing happened and I'm just sitting there waiting for something to happen. But I would say the game I played most recently would be Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, the remake that just came out. And I'm getting the mainline Professor Layton games I'm still missing in my collection for my birthday, so I'm guessing I'll have played that a bit when this video comes out. It might be an obvious question, but who knows. So, what's your favorite game? Or games if you can't pick one. Do you have a favorite game that's not Undertale or Deltarune? If so, firstly, what is it? And secondly, is it a game you would like to animate? P.S. I love your animation style, it's so cute. Thank you very much. Makes me happy to hear that. So, of course, I love Undertale and Deltarune a lot. I mean, these games, just like the one that's my favorite, maybe you already know what it is, they were very influential to the way I see art. Like Undertale and Deltarune really made me realize that video games are a type of art, but I would say, like, overall my favorite game is Pokemon X. And I think I already got over how much that influenced me. But also in general, I have so many memories attached to that game. That was like the first time I really experienced exploring a whole new world. And I remember being super invested in the story, even though I actually did struggle quite a lot. And in general, I just would call Pokemon X and Y one of the best newbie-friendly Pokemon games. I don't think I would want to animate Pokemon X though. I feel like the cutscenes already do their job fine. But I always imagined what a Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon anime would look like. I am very interested in that, but I don't think I would do it myself.
Are there any pieces of media that most seem to dislike but you like, or vice versa?
Continuing, the answer would again be Pokemon X and Y. I feel like these games, or newer Pokemon games in general, are really overhated by the fan base. Of course the games have issues, but I feel like there's also a large group of people who just grew out of Pokemon and wish it would be something else that it just isn't, who kind of can't let go, and I totally get that. I think I also wouldn't be able to let go of something that is so impactful to me. But talking about something I dislike and most people do like, I wouldn't say it's bad and no hate to the people who actually like it, but there are two things. Firstly, I'm not that big of a fan of Sailor Moon, even though I love magical girls. And I don't know why, I kind of just don't get it. I tried to watch the 90s anime and I never got warm to it. And then I read the manga, or actually I started reading the manga before I watched the anime, and then I got back to the manga after I watched the anime. And it was just so fast, which I understand because anime and manga both were kind of releasing at the same time, but I kind of read through a page and then I got like 5 pages further and then I just had to stop and think, hey wait, what did I just read? So yeah, that's kind of sad. I wonder if Crystal would be more my taste. And then there's the Owl House. And again, it's not like the Owl House is bad, just I think a huge part of the series writing is the humor, and it's just not my type of humor. I didn't find it funny at all, and I felt like even though technically it was only 2 series that aired before that, I felt like this, oh look at this cute and magical thing, well actually it's super messed up and tries to kill you. Subversion was already done in Stars vs. the Forces of Evil and Gravity Falls, so it kind of felt repetitive, at least in the first episode, and then the second episode also didn't really do it for me. And then now and again when my sister would watch the Owl House, it never really got better. I'm more indifferent to it, but I kind of don't like it.
If you were stuck with only one game series to play, one movie series to watch, and one TV show to watch for the rest of your life, which would you picking for each?
People who have been paying attention would know what I'm going to say, but I'll try to explain why. I feel like especially the story in Pokemon has gotten much better over the years, in a sense that you feel way more attached to the characters. And while I love Pokemon, my first ever favorite Pokemon game character was actually Hop from Generation 8. And I've played through almost every generation. So this is a pleasant switch, even though I'm kind of surprised it took that long for me to get attached to a character in such a special way. And if they keep this up and like there's so much Pokemon through every 3 or so years and also kind of every year, which is kind of unhealthy in my opinion, so I would never run short of that. And then for the series, I wasn't really sure if I should pick Pretty Cure or Pokemon, mostly because those are the kind of series I'm into nowadays, and both kind of have the advantage of being long ongoing franchises, so I also would never run short of that. And also both series really manage to have lovable characters every season or just every series. But in the end, I think I would just go with Pokemon again, because the quality of animation and the exciting battles is often really a huge part for me, and I feel like especially Pokemon has those a lot more, at least in the recent series. While Precure, of course, is a magical girl show and thus relies a bunch of just stock footage, which I also think is very pretty, but I feel like Pokemon would give me more variety over the years if I had to be stuck with that forever. And lastly, movie series, I actually don't know. I wouldn't pick Pokemon. I mean, I kind of don't really care about the older Pokemon movies that much, and most movies I really like don't really are part of a movie series, and what I know is that it had to be animated. I was actually thinking Wreck-It Ralph, but the second movie was kind of a character assassination for Ralph. I don't really like it, so that wouldn't also be an option. I'm not really sure.
What's your favorite Pokemon? An important question. Top 5 favorite Pokemon.
My favorite Pokemon is Fennekin, because it was my first Pokemon ever and it's very cute and it has a great evolution line. Then my second favorite Pokemon is Diancie, because it's cute, pink, glittery, it's a fairy. It's the only Kalos Pokemon with a Mega Evolution, and I always wanted one. I now have one technically in Pokemon Go, but I have one. My third favorite, which kind of ties with Diancie, I just know Diancie longer than her, is Ogerpon, because she's just the epitome of cuteness, and she's so serene and playful, and she seems so unbothered by the world, even though this isn't really what her story is about. And I kind of wish I could be more like her. I fell in love at first sight, so to say. Then my fourth favorite would probably be Sylveon, because again, cute, pink, fairy, Eevee, Gen 6. And I kind of always had a Sylveon somewhere on my team since I figured out how to get a Sylveon. Also, like my favorite character Serena also has a Sylveon, and I think in the anime especially it really shines through its animation and in its attacks. And for my fifth favorite Pokemon, I just can't decide. I'm a huge fan of starter Pokemon, and I mean there's so many starters that just have been important companions for all of my journeys, and then there are so many other Pokemon that I just learned to love over the years, so it kind of gave me a new appreciation for some types of Pokemon in a very special way. So I'm just gonna show all my favorite Pokemon here, I guess.
Oh boy, you sure did talk about Pokemon a lot. I know this because of Future Vision. I would like to ask, who's your favorite villain Pokemon and why?
Also, why did you ask yourself a question? Well, me, I thought it was funny. Yeah, this is kind of contrarianism by myself. But I decided not to be that negative. So my favorite villains are Archie from Pokemon Alpha Sapphire specifically, and Lusamine from Pokemon Sun specifically. I mean, I knew Archie first, and he even reappears in Pokemon Ultra Sun, but I feel like I was kind of disappointed when I saw his design in Pokemon Ultra Sun because they went with the old one. And I think the Alpha Sapphire one is just such an upgrade and has so much more personality, and this is also exactly why I love Archie. Because overall this very goofy plot, oh, let's flood the world so the Pokemon have more space to live, which doesn't make sense at all. Archie is just so goofy, but also kind of threatening and so out there, and I love that about him. And this goofy role of kind of this person with way too over-the-top goals, who also changes his mind later when he sees what harm he actually caused, fits Archie way better than Maxi. By the way, for the Miraculous fans, his German name is Adrien. Or Adrian. I find that's very funny. Yeah, and then Lusamine, because in my opinion, I think the Sun and Moon story is one of the best Pokemon stories, and I feel like especially Sun and Moon, Lucamine, I mean, she of course played a huge part in it. And I don't know, when I played Pokemon Sun and I got towards the ending, I kind of already anticipated, spoiler, her fusing with Nihilego and becoming this weird tentacle monster. This was just something I've never seen, and it was so different and cool. I'm really disappointed how they made her into like this anti-hero in like Ultra Sun and Moon. It kind of doesn't make sense.
Are you into any kind of series?
I don't know. I'm not going to say Pokemon this time. Instead, little fun fact, did you wonder why I draw myself in a green hoodie? It's because of DuckTales 2017. I never really was a fan of DuckTales, but then the remake came out. The reboot came out. And I don't know, I feel like them focusing more on the triplets as individuals and overall the just writing style just kind of was more for me. And what kind of was more for me was like, it was like literally my favorite series when it came out. Though I don't enjoy the third season as much, but I really loved just the focus on family, the focus on all the characters. All the characters are just greatly written. And the story is also really funny, charming, what have you. I also love that Donald actually sounds like Donald, because in the German dub of DuckTales, not only was he like never present, he also sounded like Ernie or Bernhard from The Rescuers. I don't know what the movie is called. Like those two, or rather those three, shared the same voice actor. I think also like in the third season they kind of, I don't know what they did, but I couldn't understand Donald anymore, but I always could. But in the third season, never again. I don't know, the third season was kind of lost. Yeah. Also, Louis my favorite. That's why the hoodie.
What's your favorite Precure?
So, Design is my favorite Precure is Q-Star, because not only do I think she fits her name and theme very well, her design is also just super playful, at the same time really magical and kind of fairy-like, because I feel like her outfit is very casual in a sense. I can totally see a fairy wearing that like as her everyday clothing. And overall my favorite Precure would be Cure Prism. I mean, she also has a very beautiful design. I also found it funny when I saw her design firstly. I thought, this looks like Your Precious. Did they recycle the hairstyle? But I still think the style fits Mashiro very well. And she has a lot of cute details that Your Precious doesn't have. But I also really like her dress because it's very princess-like, but also still pretty short, which doesn't make it too in the way, so to say. I forgot the words previously. What I meant was, due to her dress being more casual because it's shorter, it grants her more movability. It also really animates very nicely, and also it's just very creative, I think. But let's forget the design. I like it because of her personality, and especially because of what she stands for, which is that to be kind is to be strong. And I think that's such a powerful message, especially in a kind of internet community where we kind of ridicule redeeming people, which isn't exactly what she does, but I feel like in memes especially, kindness is often mocked, or we kind of have a very pessimistic outlook of the world. Also, maybe you remember, but once I posted a quote of her that said, the only one who is allowed to decide my worth is myself, and she didn't say it exactly like that, but that's what she meant, and I think it's also such an important message. And I also think her and Soda's relationship is super cute, so basically that's why she's my favorite.
Happy early birthday! My question is, what is your favorite and less favorite character from any media you like, and why?
Now I forgot what my answer was. Thank you very much. In general, when I tend to like a piece of media, there are less characters I really dislike. But I'm gonna tell you something funny. When I finished Omori, even though he wasn't my least favorite, but he was my less favorite. My favorite character was Cal from the real world, and my less favorite character was Cal from the dream world. I don't know, I feel like you have to play Omori to really get the characters more than once, and that's my opinion from when I only played through Omori once. But like, we made a tier list for funsies, and then my top tier was Cal and my low tier was Cal as well.
Weird question, but have you heard of Slay the Princess? If you have, then what is your opinion about it? I thought I heard about it, but I didn't actually. It was a different game, but I saw a thumbnail recently that just looked very interesting and said it's like a masterpiece or something, so that sounds really promising, as well as the title. I mean, it has princess in the title. I think I'll look more into it. Have you ever played .hack//GU Last Recode, the legendary PS2 sleeper hit remake for all new generation, available now on PS4, Steam and Switch? If not, you should give it a shot. You could say I should give it a big shot. Yeah. No, I have never heard of it, sorry. Is there any little known and underrated game you would recommend? In general, I think my mind always drifts to Fantasy Life for the Nintendo 3DS. I think it also had a mobile game, but that I think is now discontinued or something. But it will get a new title next year for the Nintendo Switch, which I'm really looking forward to. Then of course I also really like the Temmie games, Dweller's Empty Path and Escape Chasm. They're not really traditional games, they're mostly stories you play through, but I feel like especially the ambience, is that what you call it, in Escape Chasm, it's very unique and kind of scary. And then Dweller's Empty Path is really just a vibe. It's called Dweller's Empty Path for a reason. Let's call it that. But I am going to recommend a game, even though I have never played it. It's called Spark, an automation adventure. Why am I recommending this game I've never played? Well, one of the people who worked on the game just so happened to be the person who taught me to draw. So if you want to support her and her team and her game, I don't know. She told me it was more of a group effort. I don't know who's the mind behind it. You can download it on Steam. It, like it says in the title, it's like more thematic. It feels like something, or at least it looks like a mobile game, but in the description it also says that it's more like a Pikmin game, and for people who like Pikmin, maybe that's something for you. Yeah, not sponsored by the way, just want to support my friend. Also, Chicory, A Colorful Tale is really good. What's your favorite video game character outside of Undertale and Deltarune? So, technically Ogre counts because she was a character in her DLC, but usually when this question comes up I just say Hop from Pokemon Sword and Shield or Kieran and Carmine from the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, because I just love the character and their development very much. But I also want to pick a non-Pokemon option, and because it's the game I played most recently, I'm going to say Vivian from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Happy birthday! Also, are there any games you want to play but have yet to? I mean, there are a lot of games I want to play but have yet to, like all the games that are about to come out next year, like Professor Layton or Fantasy Life. But I also really wanted to try out maybe Sonic Adventure or Sonic Advance, because I think firstly, Sonic Advance's style looks really cool, and Sonic Adventure is kind of praised by the fans, and I always wanted to try out a Sonic game. And lastly, I think the game I really want to try out once, but I don't know really how, would be Mother 3. I heard that it's the best Mother game, it has really cool battle mechanics, and I'm really interested in the story. Do you have any weirdly specific niche pieces of media you are obsessed with that it seems like no one else is into? Why do you have to call me out like that? Like in general, I feel like there are a lot of things that only I and my friend circle really are into, but recently I've taken a huge interest in songs with a more deeper or scarier meaning behind it, where you can analyze a lot, and I just wish people would analyze more because I need to consume it. As an example for something you guys might know, the Itoki Hana and Toby Fox collab, 74 and The Greatest Living Show. I find them very fascinating, especially 74 and the story behind it, and I just wish there would be more analysis for that, and especially for like the actual Japanese lyrics. Other than that, there are also so many Vocaloid songs with these scary or deeper meanings behind them. For example, I discovered this song that kind of came out 10 years ago, Alice of Human Sacrifice. Then recently in the YouTube shorts there's this song called Mesmerizer, or a fairly new song is called Madoromu, that I also find really interesting. And while I feel like, the Vocaloid songs probably have deeper or wider communities, so there are bound to be more analysis of them. I wish this was also the case for the Toby Fox and QnA collabs.
And now, it's time for a moment you've been waiting for. 1, 2, 3. Ready? Niku niku.
Okay, my question is, how did you get into Undertale and Deltarune? How did you discover it? Okay, I feel like this is a story I tell a lot, but never told here. My sister got me into Undertale. Like, I saw it here and there back when it came out, but I was more confused by it, or it made me a little bit angry, because suddenly there was this weird skeleton character in my Pokemon comic dub compilation, and I thought he was a Pokemon character, but he didn't look like a Pokemon character, and I thought, hey, why did Pokemon make a character like that? But it wasn't, it was just Sans from Poketale. So yeah, my sister one day approached me and said like, hey, there's this game I really want to play, so let's play, but I'm not really sure about it. There's like creepy stuff in it. And then I went to research it, and my research was the Sans is Nest theory from Game Theory. But I was warned not to watch it if I hadn't played Undertale, because it's a great game and should be experienced without spoilers. So I stopped watching, and instead I downloaded Earthbound from the Nintendo eShop and played that to kind of get to know what Undertale is like, because that's also a thing I learned from the Sans Nest theory, namely that Undertale and Earthbound are kind of alike. So now I'm one of the Undertale fans who actually knew the "on days like these kids like you" line before they even played the game. Anyway, then I kind of decided, okay, I've researched enough, I'm just gonna buy the game for her birthday. And then I bought a coupon for the Nintendo eShop and I downloaded the Undertale. It was really different from what I was expecting. I kind of always associated Undertale with kind of weirdness and coldness, because I did watch the Honest trailer for it a while ago, and while I kind of didn't remember anything except like this feeling I had, because I just saw, hey, you can date a strange skeleton. It all really seemed weird to me, especially because everything was black and white. But then it started with this legend and in sepia colors, and I didn't expect that enough. And suddenly everything was just not what I was expecting.
So what I meant to say was, back then everything really seemed strange to me, but now, especially through this first impression of Undertale with these very warm colors, and through playing the game, I now associate Undertale more with warmness and kindness, I guess.
So, and of course, like every Undertale fan probably experienced after the game is over, you kind of just want more, you want to play it again, you want to have more story. And then one day my sister approached me again and was like, hey, there's this character I'm really scared of, and she was talking about Gaster, and I did my research again. This time my research was a comic by the person who also made Paper Trail. I don't know their name, I forgot it, I'm sorry. I'll look it up, maybe I'll just show it here. Like a comic about Gaster, and even though I didn't really know if all of this was canon or not, that was kind of my knowledge about him. And over the years I know who Gaster is now. But through this comic I got into Undertale comic dubs, and then of course in Undertale comic dub compilations there are also sometimes Deltarune comic dubs, and through that I kind of got into Deltarune and slowly got to know what it is, and I also watched the game theories about it, so I kind of got spoiled the ending of chapter 1. But even though I didn't want to play it at first because it wasn't finished and I didn't want to wait for so long, eventually we just did. But me and my sister said, yeah, okay, we can play this without each other because we only play Undertale together.
So yeah, so that's basically how I got into Deltarune.
Who would you consider to be a Undertale/Deltarune favorite character? Any reason for it? Who's your favorite Deltarune character?
My favorite Undertale characters, I never can pick one, but my favorite characters are Papyrus and Alphys. Papyrus because like he's just a great character. He's funny, he's eccentric, he also has this really lonely side, and I really resonated with his more lonely side, especially because when Undertale came out I was kind of lonely, and I then kind of really projected onto Papyrus, but my projection then didn't really resemble Papyrus anymore, and one day I just realized, wait, I don't have to project, I have Alphys. Like, even though of course I didn't accidentally melt people who were already dead, but I feel like Alphys and I don't forgive ourselves that easily. Also, with Alphys it was also easy to see this lonely side of her, because she really isolated herself. I feel like you are bound to get lonely from that. To be more positive again, I feel like Alphys is a really caring character, and that gets hugely overlooked. For example, when you look at the core and Alphys calls you, she's like, hey, you seem kind of quiet, is everything okay? And I find that so sweet also, even though she was the one who reactivated all the puzzles in the core. As soon as you get hurt, she just shuts everything down. Because she really doesn't want that, and she also really cares a lot about Undyne and Metatron. Yeah, I really like her. I also didn't find her annoying. Her voice was very fun to do, also with Papyrus. They kind of overlap a little bit, and now Flowey also got jumbled up into that. Yeah, every time she called, it was just another opportunity to voice her. As for my favorite Deltarune characters, it's just a fun game. I can't decide. I think Chris is very tragic and interesting. Again, they have my sympathy. Do steal their autonomy, and just this relationship between us and them is very interesting. Then also, I am very intrigued to see where the story goes and what their past was. And overall, they're also kind of just goofy. And then we have Susie. I really like how extroverted and rough and out there Susie is. Yeah, and I really like her relationships with all of the other members in the fun gang. And last we have Berdly. Berdly is just very sweet and cute, but he also has this really lonely and maybe even tragic side about him, because I mean, loneliness is kind of crucial to his character. Actually, all of the fun gang have that. Is where I don't just like the characters because they're all lonely. I'm sorry.
Who's your favorite boss from Undertale and Deltarune in terms of gameplay? In Deltarune, I really don't know.
I usually judge the bosses in either in terms of battle theme or just how much I like the characters. But I will say I have a healthy respect for Berdly. And Undertale. My favorite boss in terms of gameplay is Metatron. Like I said, I play Undertale together with my sister, and this was like the boss you could play with two people, disregarding Mad Mumi for a second. And also it was really difficult for the first time. We kind of always planned through everything. Okay, you are better at this turn, I'm better at this turn. We're gonna switch then and then we're going to use the happy break time to restore our health. It was very fun.
Happy birthday! May I ask what your favorite Undertale song is? All answers are valid in my opinion because they're all great. And my favorite is Battle Against the True Hero.
Based take. Yeah, I also really like Battle Against the True Hero, especially the French cover by
Voyage au centre de la toile.
And speaking of them, my favorite Undertale song would be Death by Glamour. They also made a French version of that. I don't know, it just is the song I listen to the most. It is very glamorous, so it does its title justice. It's also really energetic. I really love how you can hear TV influence in the song. I don't know. But you really get the feeling that this is like a show on TV when you listen to it.
Oh, okay. Do you have any favorite Undertale/Deltarune chips? Also, if you or anyone else here have any Deltarune fic recommendations, I would really use them. The Deltarune content withdrawal has been hitting hard.
Have you ever heard of Umriss? No, don't. I'm sorry. In terms of fanfiction, I usually just watch the Andrew Cunningham streams where he reads a bunch of fanfictions, and I mostly enjoy the really bad ones because, like, usually ironic enjoyment. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it's kind of a wild time. Okay, as for my favorite shippings, in Undertale, of course, Alphine. I think that's kind of the only one. A huge contributor to me liking it is the song Fishy Love. But I also like it in general. I mean, I like Alphys, I like Undyne, so I would also like the pairing. Then my favorite Deltarune ship would be Chris and Susie and Chris and Ralsei. All the Ralsei speculation aside, we don't really know what exactly Ralsei is to Chris, and I see this shipping more one-sided from Ralsei towards Chris. I don't see Ralsei as real. I do, since chapter 2, think Chris has a very complicated relationship towards Ralsei, and if this is further explored, I probably won't ship it anymore. But I don't know, even though I just don't like just straight up in your face romance, I do like it when characters are just cute around each other and blush, which is the case with Ralsei. I think it's very cute just how excited Ralsei is to spend time with Chris, and even though he sometimes really misses, that he always tries to be there for them. And then we have Susie and Chris and it's just, I don't know, I find it cute how they're like each other's really first friends, and just how both of them can be weird little gremlins together, how comfortable in their weirdness they are always depicted in fanworks, for example. You can see in canon how much they care about each other. They both rescue each other and how they both eat moss together. Yeah, I like it.
What's your favorite Undertale / Deltarune fanwork, or are you?
Have you ever heard of Umris? No. No. I wouldn't recommend Umris. I feel like in general the community is super talented, so I can't really pick something in terms of fan work that I really enjoy. Of course, fan animations that are miles better than mine. For example, there's this Rolling Girl animation with Papyrus, or just the animations of Spectralite QnA, or fan songs like Fishy Love that also got animated by Gale Rice, stuff like that. And when it comes to AUs, I mean, some of them seem very interesting, but I'm not in general very interested in them. So I usually just say as a joke, my favorite Undertale AU is Deltarune, and my favorite Deltarune AU is Delta Traveler.
And I think some comic count as an AU.
Like, I really think the Hunger Tale comics are very funny. I previously mentioned Paper Trail. Like, I also read Handblades and I got depressed from it. But also just in general, I enjoy fan content a lot.
What's your Deltarune Night theory? Who do you think it is?
Very cool question. Overall, I think it's Des. I would like it to be Des. Like, Des is this character that is alluded to throughout all the chapters. She clearly is important to the characters, and I think making her the knight would integrate her into the story in a really nice way without it being just, oh, look who we found, ha ha ha, at the end. I would prefer that much more. Then, of course, I also understand some of the other knight theories, like Papyrus being it, or Mayor Halloween Holiday. Papyrus, I get it, but I don't really want it. I mean, it makes sense for his character in Deltarune and what we can kind of get from what he would be like from Undertale, but I think that would reach too much into connecting Undertale with Deltarune's story territory, and I don't really want that for Deltarune. As for Mayor Holiday, I mean, she also has interesting motivations, and we also haven't seen her yet. And lastly, I don't really like the Chris Knight theory, but there is one exception in combination with a reading of the symbolism of knife from Shadow of Roserade that I watched.
And I feel like if you view Chris Knight in combination with that reading, it gives the theory a much more interesting perspective that many Chris Knight theories just don't have.
If you could create a dark world, how would it look like?
This is such a cool question.
My sister and I were like, yeah, probably something very pink and glittery. And maybe that, but in the end I decided to go more for a memory theme. I feel like all the darkness would be made out of objects but very strong memories attached to them. As for what the world would look like, I would go for a sort of distant feeling, so everything is very dark. It would have like parts of the world where you couldn't distinguish the starry night sky from the floor because it reflects so much. Then it would blow a light breeze for everything. And you could also travel on the breeze to some other parts of the dark world. And lastly, the buildings would look like sort of ruins in mixture with like abandoned buildings or mansions, but not in a spooky way, more so in like a mysterious way, because I feel like the feeling of memory and nostalgia would be very well carried through all of that.
Would you ever animate Alex Roach in Spamton dub? Depends a little on what you mean by that, but in general I would say no. The moments in the saying a lot of things as Deltarune characters were kind of repetitive for me, and I didn't really find the shot in Big Shot joke that funny. And I don't know if he did saying a lot of things the Spamton video himself. I only know of the Kane video. And lastly, if you mean when he dubbed actual phrases of Spamton from the game, we already have these amazing 3D animations, and I don't think I even need to try. Everything you could have ever wanted is there. And lastly, I just don't get Spamton. I think he's very interesting, but I never got really attached to the character.
And that would just make it harder for me to actually animate him.
Should I marry Spamton? I don't know, I feel like Spamton himself kind of became the poster child for divorce, so do with that what you will.
Have you tried Undertale Yellow? If so, any opinions? I did play Undertale Yellow. I actually got it the day it came out, I think. But after the first Martlet fight, when she defeated me, I kind of never picked it up. I don't know why. I did want to, but I never got around to it again. I do think, though, it is very well made. I really like how true to the original it is, while also doing its entirely own thing. I really like that Clover has a name that you get to know earlier than the ending. I really like how good it looks, but I would kind of second the opinion that the monsters, or rather the new original characters, all kind of look too human-like in a sense. They kind of missed this Toby Fox craziness in their designs. But overall, yeah, I really like it.
Alright, then that's it from me. Thank you very much for sticking through with me to the end. I hope I didn't forget any questions. I did actually try to answer all of them, but I scrolled through the comment section so many times, maybe I just missed one accidentally. Overall, I would say I did learn a bunch by doing this. Like, I kind of had to re-record a bunch of stuff, and I got way more comfortable over time talking. And I'm sorry that I didn't really make it that visually exciting, but I don't really have the time to do that right now. Thank you again for everyone who wished me a happy birthday, and thank you for making this with me. I hope to see you soon, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you could enjoy it.